All right, Be'ezrat Hashem. So today, B'si'ata Dishmaya, we're going to try to learn a few psukim that are one bulk and interconnected, and essentially a continuation of the last two pesukim that we've learned in last shiur, which is pasuk Yutet and pasuk Chaf, which were explained al pi Torat Kabbalah, like by the Gara. And now, in the upcoming few psukim, the Gaon kinds of wraps up the Musar scale of these pesukim. So it's again, like I said, it's a continuation of Yutet and Chaf, and Be'ezrat Hashem, we'll see those benefits. So in the last two psukim, just so that we we go back quickly. Pasuk Yutet, Hashem bechokma yasad aretz. Hashem founded the earth with wisdom, with chokhmah. Konen shamayim bidvuna, and he established the shamayim, the heavens, with his understanding, with his tevuna, right? With his tevuna. And the Gaon told us we're talking about bina. Then bedato tehomot nivkau, with his da'at, with the knowledge, who bursted the depths. V'shahakim ushhakim ira afutal, and the skies distilled the dew, right? Brought down the dew, and we explained that the dew and the matar and the rain are what lies in between shamayim va'aretz, and that so we had the chokhmah, we had the binah, and we had the da'at, which is the da'at, it's what splits, right? What splits the earth that bursts in two to reveal the depth, which allows you to get to the depths of things, and allow also the dew to come down from Shamayim, right? That's for more details, go back to last year. Now we're continuing. So in this, until this point, so we have the Chokhmah, we have the Tevuna, and we have the Da'at that have been addressed by Shlomo HaMelech. Now we have Pasuk Kaf Aleph. Beni al yaluzu me'enecha. My son, don't lose sight of them. And here we're talking about what? We're going to see in a minute. We're talking about the Chokhmah and the Bina, but we'll get to it. Netzor tushia umzima. Hold on, tushia, to its resourcefulness, umzima, and to the foresight, to its foresight. So says the Gaon Mivina, Beni al yaluzu me'enecha, achokhma ve'abina. Al yaluzu me'enecha, she'em ketuvim lefanav. Says the Gaon, a person, that's what the Shlomo is telling us, never lose sight over your chokhmah and over your bina, or over the chokhmah and over the bina that is born from that chokhmah. Meaning your awareness, your focus to be savvy, to be thirsty of chokhmah, and your desire and awareness and need to always have a dynamic bina should always be in the foresight of your mind. So essentially, this is where your main awareness and focus and interest, intellectual interest, should be. Netzor tushia umzima. Hold on to its resourcefulness and to the foresight, its foresight, says the Gaon, the resourcefulness and its foresight is the da'at. Why is that the da'at? Because the resourcefulness comes from the chokhmah, the foresight comes from the binah. Together, right, the blend of the resources and of what it yields in your outlook of situations and in life, which is the foresight, right? Together, right, is what allows you to be, I don't want to say in control, but as in control as possible through your da'at, through your neshama in your life. And that is called the da'at. Now, he says, why does Shlomo HaMelech uses the word netzor, hold on? He says, because the chokhmah in itself is very vast, right? It's out there and it's floating. So you cannot really hold on to chokhmah. You can acquire chokhmah. You can learn chokhmah, but you don't hold on to it because it's not yours. You're only taking something that's out there. The binah itself also, it's your ability to now understand, right, what has not been taught formally. It's something, it's what you make out of this chokhmah, but that also you don't hold on to it because it's a trait that you apply to the chokhmah, right? It's a trait that you apply to the chokhmah. So it's a tool in its essence, right? That breaks the information of the chokhmah, breaks it down, and allows you to create derivatives intellectually from the chokhmah. However, the da'at, the implementation of knowing how to be resourceful and how to go back into your chokhmah and know how to use it and to foresee situation outcomes of situation, this is you. This is what you can hold on to. This is what you create. This is what is yours. This is what you have the ability to mold your life with. So for that reason, says Shlomo HaMelech, he uses says the Gaon, Shlomo HaMelech uses the word netzor, hold on to. Now, says the Gaon, interestingly enough, the Gaon now, the Shlomo HaMelech takes the da'at and splits it into two. He splits it into resourcefulness and he splits it into foresight, which means, says the Gaon, that besides the fact that the da'at is the blend of the chokhmah and the binah, it has in it two distinctive legs, two distinctive traits. One that is called the trait of resourcefulness, okay? The trait of tushia. It's the ability, it's the character that allows you to be resourceful, which is a derivative of the da'at. And then you have another trait that is a derivative of the da'at, which is called the foresight. These are two traits a person develops through his da'at. You know, when you see people like they're in situations they get very resourceful. You don't know how you can get out of a situation, or you're clogged in your mind. You cannot see past, the situation. And somebody comes with a foresight. He comes with the ability to see through things better. This is the derivative. This is the yield, the offspring of the da'at. Same thing with resourcefulness. When a person is stuck and he sees around him and he doesn't see how to get out of a situation, and then somebody else, boom, He's very resourceful. He finds a way to create a tool that will help, or a way to get out of a situation. That resourcefulness is also the offspring, the leida, okay, the outcome of that. So you have the da'at itself, and then from the da'at comes out these two pillars: a pillar or a trait that is called resourcefulness, and a trait that's called foresight. We have been exposed to it at the beginning of Mishlei. If you recall, in Pasuk Dalet, the Pasuk says, Yishma. מחילה, ד' לתת לפתאים עורמה לנח דעת ומזימה. If you recall, we spoke about that pasuk, and we spoke about how the mzima, right, the foresight is, and the da'at are both brachot, or gains that a person will gain from learning Mishlei, right? And there you see that there's a distinction between mezima and da'at. And the mizima there was also the ability not to fall for mistakes and not to get trapped because of ignorance. We can go back to that shiur, okay? Perek Aleph, Pasuk Dalet, and what we learned there. So, says the Gaon Mivina, now that we have essentially addressed 5 intellectual traits from Pasuk Yutet to Pasuk Kafalet. We addressed the Chokhmah, we addressed the Tevuna, we addressed the Da'at, we addressed the Tushia, and we addressed the Mezima. Correct? So comes the Gaon and says, okay, now Shlomo HaMelech will address the 5 benefits of those 5 kochot amoach, amochim, right? We continue. Mechila, just before we continue, says the Gaon, the Torah in its beauty is the Da'at, and the resourcefulness and the foresight are the mitzvot aseh and mitzvot lo ta'aseh that you derive from the Torah. These are the comparables. So you have the Chokhmat Torah, you have the Tevuna of the Torah, which is the way the Torah is written, the secrets of the Torah, the intricacy of the Torah. And then you have the Torah itself, which is the Da'at, right? And then from that, the practical derivative of mitzvot aseh, yes, proactive actions, and actions that are forbidden. Now comes Shlomo HaMelech with the 5 benefits and outcomes, beneficial outcomes of those 5 mohin, those 5 kochot mohin. The pasuk says like this. Now we are pasuk kavbet. ויהיו חיים לנפשך וכן לגרגרותיך. There will be a source of life to your nefesh, to your spirit, וכן, and grace legargerotecha, to your throat. So here, Shlomo HaMelech enumerates two benefits. Benefit number one, life. Benefit number two, chen. We'll go back after and dive into it. I just want to enumerate the five, and then we'll go back. Next pasuk. Az telech labetach darkecha, then you will go safely on your way. Veraglecha, and your legs, lo tigof, will not get injured. Your feet will not get injured. So that would be a third attribute, a third benefit, which is bitachon. Next pasuk, kav dalet. Im tishkav, if you lie down, lo tifhad, you will not be afraid. V'shachavta, and when you will lie down, ve'areva shenatecha, and your sleep will be sweet, will be peaceful and harmonious, will be sweet. So the next trait is what? Lo tifhad, no fear. Pasuk kavhe. Al tira mipachat pitom. You will not fear sudden pchadim, sudden terror or situation, fearful situation. Umishoat reshaim al tavo. And you will, and the disaster of the reshaim will not come to you. So you're protected from outside terror and reshaim. That's the fourth one. Pasuk kavav.
The fourth is no fear of reshaim.
The protection, yeah, of outside terror and reshaim. Yes. Ki Hashem yebekislecha, because Hashem will be the source of your trust. V'shamar raglecha milaked, and He will keep your feet from being caught, from being trapped. The fifth trait is Ki Hashem yebekislecha. Hashem will be your source of trust. So what are the five things that we enumerated? We enumerated, yes.
What's the difference between 5 and 3? Bitachon and Hashem, your source.
Very good. Well, yeah, very good. Because not to be afraid when you lay down is a level of comfort that you're good, that you're not, you're when you go to sleep at night, you sleep at night, you're not scared. Your house is closed. There's a shomer at the entrance. You can sleep peacefully, right? But it's very different than when you're on the go, knowing that Kadosh Baruch Hu is with you all the time. And we'll dive into it. We'll explain it. It's quite complicated, but we'll explain the Gaon addresses it. Himself is not so clear. But okay, so we have life, we have grace, chen, we have feeling safe. Okay. Being protected from outside terror and reshaim. and having bitachon, knowing that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is with you at all time. Says the Gaon Mivilna, those five benefits are the results of a person's efforts in the five kohot amochin, in the five intellectual traits that we have addressed in the psukim before. And he explains. And we're going back now to, so we're saying now pasuk kav bet, right? Ve'yu chaim lenafshecha, there will be a source of life to your spirit, ve'chen legargerotecha, and grace to your throat. It says the chaim, what brings chaim to a person? The chokhmah. Yem chaim lenafshecha, chaim lenafshecha, because chokhmah is considered life to your nefesh. Like the we said in Kohelet, if you remember, okay, the chokhmah brings life to its owners. And the answer is, the explanation is very clear. Because when you have chokhmah, and what that means, when you're connected to the source of chokhmah, you always have what to learn. You always have what to look forward to. You always have a reason to go along and move ahead. That's the chokhmah. Because the chokhmah is infinite. So you can never be blessed or never be bored or stuck thinking that you know it all. That's Chaim. Chaim is to look forward to growth, to look forward to more, to look forward for something you haven't experienced yet. This is life. It's an invitation to exist, to interact, to grow, right? This is what life is about, an invitation to grow. Chokhmah, it's an invitation to grow. It's a source of growth. So the Chokhmah, meaning says Shlomo Melech, the more the person is exposed to Chokhmah and puts his efforts in tapping into the sources of Chokhmah, this grants and blesses the person with the instinctive motivation that is a blessing from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, okay, to want to live longer, to live better. Says the Gaon, the same way the Chokhmah is something that is internal, it's something that is hidden, it's something that it's out there, but you have to go and reveal it. By revealing it and connecting to it, you're revealing the power of your nefesh, which is also hidden. So your chokhmah is connected to your nefesh, and the pnimiyut of the chokhmah, the internal, the hidden dimension of the chokhmah brings life to the hidden dimension of your essence, the nefesh. The tevuna, what is tevuna? Is what you bring out of that chokhmah, right? Is what you learn out from that chokhmah. So it's taking the chokhmah, which is static, like we explained in the last shiur, and bringing out lessons, bringing out ideas, bringing out hidushim that are not clearly verbalized or expressed in what you're learning in the chokhmah. So you're revealing hidden messages or hidden hidden source in the Chokhmah and bringing it out to reality, to life. That tool is basic. What is it doing? It's taking something that's hidden and bringing it out. So he says, Shlomo HaMelech, he says, the tevuna, the hand brings hand legargerotecha. It's like the throat. What does the throat does? What does the throat does? The throat brings out, okay, the voice and the words of a thought. The thought is the chokhmah, it's hidden. But the throat brings out those thoughts and bring them to reality. It's the hisoniut. It's the outer layer of the mohin. The inner layer is the chokhmah, the hidden layer. The outside layer is the tevuna. So says the Gaon, by working on your tevuna, by working on your bina, by working on that trait, that tool of you that's called bina tevuna, the Hashem blesses the person so that now what he says and what comes out of his mouth are words that have in it hand, that have in it grace, that are embraced, that are understood, that are cherished, that are accepted, that enter the heart. Says the Gaon, when you can teach the Chokhmah and your teachings are accepted, are understood, are embraced, enter the hearts, this is a living proof that Hashem blesses you with hen, with his grace, as a result of your toil in the trait, in the koach that is called the bina and tevuna. So essentially, the more the person takes his chokhmah to a next level and sits down and breaks it down and understand more, and what does it mean, and what am I learning from this, right? And he really toils in his bina will yield in his essence the power of chen, grace, and his words will have a special aura to it, a special ingredient to it that opens people's heart and uplift the people. That is the second benefit that we see. So one benefit, which is chayim, from the chokhmah. Second benefit, which is chen, from the bina. Now, as we explained, we have the da'at, that is the hybrid version of chokhmah and bina, and then we have the two traits that are born from the da'at, which is the power of resourcefulness and the power of foresight. So the next pasuk says, "Im tivshkav lo tifhad." If you lie down, you will not be scared. Shachavta, and when you lie, ve'areva shenatcha, you'll be able to have a sweet sleep. So to explain that pasuk, the Gaon tells us the following. He says the day, a full day, meaning from morning until night, 24-hour day, is essentially broken into two parts that are really three. The day, the full day, is broken into two parts, morning and afternoon. And then you have a third part, lema'ase, which is the night, which is one long part, right? So we have two that are three. The two, it's day and night, and they're really three because day is broken into two, morning and afternoon. And he says, and those three parts have been highlighted by the Avot HaKadoshim, Avraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov, by the tefillot that they instituted. Morning is Shacharit, which Avraham instituted. Afternoon is Mincha, which is Yitzhak. And night is Yaakov, Arbit, which is all night. And he says there is a specific trait to each one. Avraham Avinu is Amidah, to stand up. Like the Pasuk says, El HaMakom Asher Amad Sham, to the place where he stood there. He says in the morning, we get back our neshama, and we go from a situation of lying down to standing. We rise. In the morning, we rise. In the afternoon, we walk. It's a moment of halicha, like the pasuk Vayetze Yitzhak. Yitzhak went out. Night is to lay down shechiva, like it says about Jacob. Vayalan sham, he lied down there. So says the Gaon, the first pasuk, when do you get back life? In the morning. So that's the morning. That's regarding the morning. This pasuk of Az telech labetach darkecha veraglecha lutigof is talking about the afternoon. It's talking about your growth. It's talking about your halicha. Halicha is to go, to be dynamic, right? To be mobile. He says this is what you do with da'at. Da'at is what allows you to move forward. Through your da'at, you can do actions, you can interact, you can react. And in that dimension, also we're going to find a hidden aspect to the da'at and an outside aspect, a revealed aspect to the da'at. So he said the hidden aspect to the da'at is as telech labetach darkecha. When you do something, when you have da'at and you do something, you do it with confidence. The confidence, you cannot really detect it. It's an emotion, right? It's a feeling. You feel confident. Now, people can maybe through your body language come to the conclusion that maybe you have confidence, maybe you're faking it. A lot of people are faking confidence, right? But so the confidence is really something that's hidden, that's personal. So he says that the da'at, the hidden dimension of the da'at, yields to a person confidence in his actions. bitachon. And the outcome, the revealed part of the da'at, if you don't get hurt. The outcome of your actions is you always come out yado ala eliona. You always come out without getting hurt. That doesn't mean you don't fail, but you don't get hurt. Your feet don't get hurt. You don't get injured. So there is a more pashut, more pshat aspect to it, is that behemet, your body don't get tzaddikim, Hashem shomer alehem. HaKadosh Baruch Hu protect their body. That physically they don't get injured. That is another segula and beracha, an outcome of somebody that is toiling to live with his da'at. So you have life, you have grace, and you have physical protection not to get injured, physically injured. And on an internal level, to do things with self-confidence and bitachon. So the benefits of the da'at, because it is a hybrid of chokhmah and binah, has two dimensions to it. One of that is primi and one is chitzoni, because there's always so the primi is the self-confidence, and the chitzon, right, the internal one is the self-confidence, and the revealed one is what? Being protection, not being hurt on in the outcome of your action, and physically not being injured. The Gaon takes it one layer deeper in our nefesh, and he says something magnificent. He says a person is born with some traits that are his, right? He has some midot that he's born with. And then you have midot that the person picks up with society along his life. He says like this. He says, when you develop your da'at, your inner and natural midot are going to be so clear that you will use them to build your bitachon. You will always lean on these kochot to find confidence and clarity in actions that you take. And when it comes to raglecha, your legs, he says, it comes from the word hergel. When it comes to the midot that you picked up along the way, that you don't master, but they're part of you, where you can be vulnerable because you don't master these traits. It's not you 100%. You just acquired it along the way, right? And if it's not really you, then there is fragility and vulnerability to the use of those traits. If you have the da'at and you work on your da'at, those vulnerabilities and exposure, HaKadosh Baruch Hu takes care of it. He blesses you so that you're protected, and those traits that you will use that are not 100% yours from your birth will not be a source of failure for you. If you want more of what we discuss about it, Ayen Shir HaShirim, we spoke about it in the Perek He, Pasuk Gimel. So this is the third positive outcome that Shlomo HaMelech reveals to us, and that one is specific to the toil, the development, the work of the da'at. Holding on to the da'at, like he says, holding on to the netzor to Shia Mizima. Next pasuk, Kav Dalet. Im tishkav lo tifhad. If you lie down, you will not be afraid. V'shachavta ve'areva shelatcha. And when you lie to sleep, when you lie down to sleep, your sleep will be sweet. The Gaon says this is referring now to the night. We spoke about the morning, which was Hayim, which now we just spoke about afternoon, which is the Da'at. Now he says Vayishkav. When do you lay down? When do you lie down? When you're about to sleep. It's going back to the night, like it says Vayalen Sham. He says when people go to sleep, he says when usually now today we have houses. Today we feel safe because we can close the door and we have not right, not to the locks to close the door. But it wasn't always like that. And I'll tell you more. If Khalila, you hear that you have like there's a riot outside of your house at 11 o'clock at night, and they're targeting I don't know what, you're not going to sleep, even if you have your locks down, right? Why? Says the Gaon, because Shlomo HaMelech tells us that at night we apprehend the unknown. At night, you're no longer in control. You don't see clearly. You don't have visibility. It's darkness. People behave in an odd way, in a more dangerous way at night, because they're not seen. It's the time where bad things usually happen. So because of that, people are scared. When it comes to night, when you're about to lay down, imagine you're in a tent in the desert on a journey, okay? Or you're in a tent like the Bedouins live. You go to sleep at night, you don't know. You're scared of animals, of snakes. You're scared of bandits. Who knows what can happen? The fear of the unknown. And then when you actually sleep and fall asleep, a person that falls asleep because he's scared, but he's exhausted, he sleeps, but he doesn't have a beautiful sleep. He doesn't have a sweet sleep. Here, there's another layer of the bracha is that you sleep like a baby, comfortable. You have a sweet sleep. Says the Gaon Mivina, these are again the pnimiut and chitzoniut. Chitzoniut is to be in bed and going and about to go to sleep and not be scared, because and that can be detected, right? That's out there. That's your in your behavior. But your sweet sleep, that's the pnimiut. Here the Gaon says something interesting. He says, if you pay attention, until now, Shlomo HaMelech has always introduced first Pnimiyut and then Chitzoniyut. Chochma, Tevuna, right? Betach, Veraglecha Lutigov. Suddenly, he shifts. Now he talks about Chitzoniyut and then after that Pnimiyut. First Chitzoniyut is Lotifchad, and the Pnimiyut is Ve'areva Shenatcha. He says, because now at this point, we're talking about the yield of the da'at. Once you talk about the yield of the da'at, it's no longer top to bottom, but bottom to top. So for that specific reason, Shlomo HaMelech first addresses Chitzoni, and then from the Chitzoni reveals the Pnimi. That's just a point of reference that the Gaon uses to tell us that this is the benefit of the Da'at. To continue with that pachad, the pasuk says, "Kafe al tira mi pachad pitom." You will not be scared of an like in how you call it an outside terror or something like that comes sudden fear, sudden terror. ומשעת רשעים כי תבוא, or from the disaster, from the chaos that come from the Rishaim. Says the Gaon, here he says, pachad, fear, is something that comes instantaneously. That's pachad. Al tira mi pachad pitom is first you get pachad because of a situation that you were not expected, and then you're al tira, then you have yirah, and then you dwell into that fear, and you consciously think about it, and that's right. So pachad is scare, yirah is fear. Scare is spontaneous on the moment. Fear is what is dragged, is the outcome, is the collateral damage of the scare. So אל תשכב, אם תשכב לא תפחד, ושכבת וערבה שנתך, is referring it switches again. It's referring to the foresight. It's referring to the mezima. Because in order not to be scared and to sleep at night, you have to project yourself past your imagination and your fears. Right? That's the pnimiut and the chitzoniut of the mezima. אל תירא מפחד פתאום משועת רשעים כי תבוא. כי השם יהיה בכסלך. You know why you shouldn't be scared of or have fear and not worry about the chaos or the disaster from the Rishaim. כי השם יהיה בכסלך. Because הקדוש ברוך הוא is the one you can trust in. And he will keep your feet from being caught. He says, a person, and this is the resourcefulness, the person usually he fails and do avera because of two reasons. Or because of lack of knowledge, he didn't know. Or he knows, but his Yetzer Hara was bigger than him. So says Shlomo Melech explains the Gaon. If you're kasil, if you don't have knowledge, don't worry. Akadosh Baruch Hu, you can trust that Akadosh Baruch Hu will protect you. That doesn't mean you should stay ignorant, but we don't know everything. And we're talking about somebody that's trying to be resourceful, right? That develops through his da'at the koach of resourcefulness. Even if you don't know everything, don't worry. HaKadosh Baruch Hu will inject in you that trait to get you out of a situation. So he will fill in your lack of knowledge, or your lack of da'at, to be more exact. ושומר רגליך מלכד, ושמר רגליך מלכד, ושמר רגליך מלכד. And he will protect your knowledge, your da'at, from being trapped by the Yetzer Hara. So this being resourceful brings two benefits. One pnimi and one chitzoni again. The pnimi is that if you're missing a piece of the puzzle, not because you're lazy, but just you didn't get there, don't worry, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will enlighten you to find it and see it, and will fill in the gap for you. and with what you do and know, and the resources that you've developed on your own, with your dot, don't fear to fall for the Yetzer Hara. Kadosh Baruch Hu will let you use these resources to always be ahead of the game of the Yetzer Hara. Are we good? So now we have the 5 benefits and outcome of the 5 traits that we've discussed. Chokhmah, life, Tevuna, Chen, Da'at is the 2 layers of the bitachon, like we explained, right? Or also the 2 layers of the midot, the traits the traits that are ours, and the traits that are that we pick up along the way, that we have protection on that. And the protection, that's one double layer. The other double layer is the if you lay down, right, then we have the foresight, right? We're resourceful. The foresight is going to sleep at night and sleeping sweet. And finally, not to fear, not to be scared or fear, because Hashem is protecting us from within and from outside. From within, by bridging the gap if we're lacking information, and from without, by not falling for the traps of the Yetzer Hara with what we think, or what we know, or what we've acquired through our da'at. So the da'at is broken into 2, and Lema'aseh has many benefits to it. Be'ezrat Hashem, this is for this year. So we finished the 5 kochot amuchin, which yield the 5 benefits from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, which are essentially 5 segulot. And not to burden you too much, the Gaon then takes a tangent and says it's neged nefesh, ruach, neshama, guf, and gvia. Okay, but we'll leave it at that, not to make it too heavy. Tov, be'ezrat Hashem. So we conclude. We finished. We just conclude pasuk kavav.